faith is something that is beyond the pure mind of logic. How could you explain to somebody that simply by believing in something, you could change the course of events in the universe? Your own ascension plan, your own guarantee of survival, of life after death, simply by just believing in that. To the scientific mind, that would seem absolutely preposterous, because that's a world where the laws, they don't give a shit about what you think or what you don't think. The laws of physics are going to act on you no matter what. So it's an amazing power, though, to have something that's just faith and our own ability to control our destiny through that. And there's no logical. But now here's the other thing. Once attained, you will find that it's altogether logical and reasonable. So it's something that you really have to experience in order to understand the logic behind it. So as people of faith, we do understand that because it has changed our lives. And we haven't even begun yet to see the ramifications. If ramification is a positive word, I don't know if that can be used in a positive sense, but of the outpouring of what that faith is to do for us. We see inklings here and there in our life to various degrees, at least I do. As somebody who is not a master, I believe that when I become a spiritual master, then I will see more profound experiences. Remember, there's a good one-liner about no one has caused me more trouble than myself. And that's something that I would have on my tombstone as an epitaph, that I'm personally keeping myself from my own understanding of the glory through my own idiosyncrasies, human weaknesses, and that sort of thing, which I do know and understand, and I'm allowing it to play out, working when I have strength on this process of mastery, but not beating myself up, because that will be a block in and of itself towards your unfolding. But the point of all this is just to say that we truly really haven't seen, at least I haven't, and at least anybody hasn't who hasn't become a true master in it yet, what it's like to attain that Morancha level while here on earth during this phase of our spiritual existence. To attain the Morancha level it's beyond enlightenment. I think that even we as Urantia book readers are enlightened. We're not just walking around there blindly and wandering through the isms and so forth, and vacillating on whether it be something like atheism or something like that. We're enlightened to that aspect. I mean, we have begun our merger with God, the God within, but it'll just take that unfolding. All right, so that was just a completely random aside. I don't even know what spurred that on. But anyways, we're looking at the celestial artisans today. And this is written by an archangel, however you say that, and an archangel of Nebadon, which is our local universe. And it's just, this first part is very interesting because it describes how a spirit being sees literally, like what they see and so forth. So let's just get into this. Please like and subscribe, folks. We're doing really well. The community's growing. If we hit 3,000 watch hours, we're getting close to that. I've got some cool t-shirts and stickers that I've designed, so I'll be able to offer them on the channel. So let's please get the word out there too. It's also helpful for that. Okay, here we go. The celestial artisans. Among the courtesy colonies of the various divisional and universe headquarters world may be found the unique order of composite personalities denominated the celestial artisans. These beings are the master artists and artisans of the Morancha and lower spirit realms. They are the spirits and semi-spirits who are engaged in Morancha embellishment. Now, they say semi-spirits because there's an intervening stage of existence that's called the Morancha stage between the material stage where we're at now and the spiritual stage, who are engaged in Morancha embellishment. Now, and that Morancha stage also has its own type of matter as well, and in spiritual beautification. Such artisans are distributed throughout the grand universe on the headquarters worlds of the super-universes, the local universes, the constellations and systems, as well as on all spheres settled in light and life. But their chief realm of activity is in the constellations and especially on the 770 worlds surrounding each headquarters sphere. So, they're widespread there, though their work may be almost incomprehensible to the material mind. That is the theme of this paper. We're on page, 497, by the way. That incomprehensible to the material mind. But now that's the material mind. Remember, we have the ability to tap into these other minds, cosmic mind, Marancha mind. But it takes a mastery, because there wouldn't be an arbitrary favor. Faith isn't an arbitrary favor, but there's more to attainment than just faith. Okay, that was the fourth epochal revelation. Jesus of Nazareth taught us that. The fifth epochal revelation is teaching us about God the Supreme, which is an evolving God of time and space that grows as we master choices and decisions. Okay, so it's about mastery and ascending through mastery. That's what the fifth epochal revelation is. Among other things. Though the work may be almost incomprehensible to the material mind, it should be understood that the Marancha and spirit worlds are not without their high arts and supernal cultures. The celestial artisans are not created as such. They are selected and recruited court of beings composed of certain teacher personalities native to the central universe and their volunteer pupils, drawn from the ascending mortals and numerous other celestial groups. So that's central universe of Havona. Those beings are created in perfection, okay? And now they're to be the teachers, and we can volunteer. The original teaching core of these artisans was sometimes assigned by the infinite spirit, that's God, the Godhead, third person of the Trinity, in collaboration with the seven master spirits, part of God the sevenfold. Right down, I believe they're the fourth on God the sevenfold. There's seven aspects of God. One being God the Father. This is an important thing to note, God the sevenfold. God the Father, God the Son, God the Spirit. That's the three. Then there's the seven master spirits, the Ancients of Days, the local universe creator Son, and I'm missing one, maybe the adjutant mind spirits, but consisted in 7,000 Havona instructors, 1,000 to each of the seven division of artisans. With such a nucleus to start with, there has developed through the ages this brilliant body of skillful workers in spirit and Marancha affairs. So we're talking ancient here. Any Marancha personality or spirit entity is eligible for admission to the core of the celestial artisans. That is, any being below the rank of inherent divine sonship. Ascending sons of God from evolutionary spheres may, after their arrival on the Marancha worlds, apply for admission to the artisan core. You can be a celestial artisan. If you're inclined to it, is sufficiently gifted, may choose a career for a longer or shorter period, but no one may enlist with the celestial artisans for less than 1 millennium, 1,000 years of super universe time. And I don't know what the correlation between a year of super universe compared to a year of our time, but it's longer. So that's to show you the scope. It's like your side gig. They'd say, yeah, I want to dance with being a celestial artisan for a little while. How long is that? Well, side gig is going to last you just ages, because you're dealing with eternity. All celestial artisans are registered on the super universe headquarters, but are directed by Marancha supervisors on the local universe capitals. They are commissioned in the following 7 major divisions of activity by the central core of the Marancha supervisors, functioning on the headquarters worlds of each local universe. Okay, so there's all these interesting classifications. Celestial musicians, heavenly reproducers, divine builders, thought recorders. And that's not an intrusion, by the way. There's no sort of intrusion. They're not interested in thoughts that aren't what they call gems of mentation, which are when you have a really good idea. That's the type of one that's recorded. The other types of thoughts are not, because they just fall flat, they fall dead, sorted, or, turkey's on sale today. It's not like going to be intruded into your mind to record that. Energy manipulators, designers and embellishers, harmony workers. The original teachers of these 7 groups all hailed from the perfect worlds of Havona, and Havona contains the pattern studies for all phases and forms of spirit artistry. So it's this downstepping from a perfect pattern. While it is a gigantic task to undertake to transfer these arts of Havona to the worlds of space, the celestial artisans have improved the technique and execution from age to age. As in all other phases of the ascending career, those who are the most advanced in any line of endeavor are required constantly to impart their superior knowledge and skill to the less favored fellows. So they're trying to reproduce this pattern. It's almost like if you have a really good thought, a lot of people say, oh man, I have all these great ideas, but I'm just not an artist. I can't put it onto canvas. Well, then you know what it's like, because they have all these amazing patterns, but they just have to try to duplicate them in the world's, even Morancha is a stepping down, even though it's far transcended to where we're at. You will first begin to glimpse these transplanted arts of the Havona on the mansion worlds, and their beauty and your appreciation of their beauty will heighten and brighten until you stand in the spirit halls of Solvington and behold the inspiring masterpieces of the supernal artists of the spirit realms. All these activities of the Morancha spirit worlds are real. Okay, this is where it gets into how they see and stuff. To spirit beings, the spirit world is a reality. So it's not this etheric type of thing where things are passing through and there's non-entities and whatnot. To us, the material world is more unreal. The higher forms of spirits freely pass through ordinary matter, even though I just said that. They go through regular ordinary matter. High spirits are reactive to nothing material, excepting certain of the basic energies. To material beings, the spirit world is more or less unreal. To spirit beings, the material world is almost entirely unreal, being merely a shadow of the substance of spirit realities. And a good analogy would be like if there was an ant, and the ant could vaguely feel this rumbling when your footprint went near it, and it said, oh, there must be an entity or some sort of sensory, but it doesn't have any idea what the stock market is, who's going to win the big football game, what you have to put on, what's trendy to put on your resume. You see, we can have a vague idea. Oh, maybe there's angels. We have no idea what their activities are. They can't even explain it. I cannot, with exclusive spirit vision, perceive the building in which this narrative is being translated and recorded. A divine counselor from Uversa who chances to stand by my side perceives still less of these purely material creations. We discern how these material structures appear to you by viewing a spirit counterpart presented to our minds by one of our attending energy transformers. This material building is not exactly real to me, a spirit being, but it is, of course, very real and very serviceable to material mortals. That's where we get into that relativity. And they talked about how some things are real on various levels, okay? There are certain types of beings who are capable of discerning the reality of the creatures of both spirit and the material world. See, they're needing a being to help them kind of, translate. But there's belonging to this class are the so-called fourth creatures of the Havona servitals, different class of beings, and the fourth creatures of the conciliators. These angels of time and space are endowed with the ability to discern both spirit and material beings, as also are the ascending mortals. Now, we're able to do this as ascending mortals. That's our classification. Subsequent to deliverance from the life in the flesh. After attainment of the higher spirit levels, the ascenders are able to recognize material, Morancha, and spirit realities. So something that we can attain. There's also here with me a mighty messenger from Uversa, an ascendant adjuster fused one-time mortal being. And he perceives you as you are. And at the same time, he visualizes the solitary messenger, different class, the super Nathan, and other celestial beings present. So this is when they're giving this presentation, to the channel personality or whatever you want to call it. Never in your long ascendancy will you lose the power to recognize your associates of former existences. So if you advanced, for instance, maybe some of your relatives are going to be sleeping survivors because they really didn't become spiritual during this life, but they're going to be resurrected based on the mercy. And you're going to be much, much more advanced by the time they even are resurrected. You will have already, journeyed into the central universe, or who knows. You're still going to, when they're resurrected, you can still go back and visit them and see them, even though you have completely transformed your spiritual vision. Always as you ascend inward in the scale of life, will you retain the ability to recognize and fraternize with the fellow beings of your previous and lower levels of experience. Each new translation of resurrection will add one more group of spirit beings to your vision range, and without in the least depriving you of your ability to recognize your friends and fellows of formal estates. And that's how we would want it, because we're making these bonds and connections here. And, it's just a nice, that's how I would want it, because I've had friends and relatives who have passed on, and it'd be great for this reunion, but for them to not be able to see or recognize would not be great. All this is made possible in the experience of ascending mortals by the action of the indwelling thought adjusters. Through their retention of the duplicates of your entire life's experience, you are assured of never losing any true attribute you once had. But now, look at that. That's the key word, true attribute. If you had a false attribute, then that's going to go by the wayside. So you don't have to carry these burdens. Like, when I say false, I mean not true, beautiful, and good. Something that is, just a relative reality, a relative evil, which is relatively real. It's not true. Then you won't have to carry that with you for your whole entire universe career. Only the true attributes you'll carry with you. And these adjusters are going through with you as part of you, in reality as you. Such a key little nugget thrown in there that, I'm right now I'm talking to God. I am literally talking to God right now when you're receiving this message and hearing this message. Okay, that's God. That thought adjuster is a fragment of entity of God. But I almost despair, but remember, you're not the only God. You're not the central Godhead. You have that's why they call it a fragment. It's important to note that, because the central Godhead would know all of the planets and how many planets there are and know them all by name and things like that. And you don't know that. And that's just, okay. I am almost despair of being able to convey to the material mind the nature of the work of the celestial artisans. Again, there's their theme. I am under the necessity of constantly perverting thought and distorting language in an effort to unfold to the mortal mind the reality of the Morancha transactions in near spirit phenomena. Your comprehension is incapable of grasping, and your language is inadequate for conveying the meaning, value, and relationship of these semi-spirit activities. And I proceed with this effort to enlighten the human mind concerning these realities with the full understanding of the utter impossibility of my being very successful in such an undertaking. So what else are you going to do? I mean, but you're trying to reveal it, and you can. I mean, any tiny little bit of them attempting to do something, although it might not fully explain it, for us it's like a huge revelation. I can do no more than attempt to sketch a crude parallelism between mortal and material activities and the manifold functions of the celestial artisans. If the Urantia races were more advanced in art and other cultural accomplishments, then could I go that much further in an effort to project to the human mind from the things of matter to those of Morancha. So they're saying even our material arts, which they point out later, are only at a very base level. There's a lot that our material arts can attain, our music and stuff. About all I can hope to accomplish is to make emphatic the fact of the reality of these transactions of the Morancha in the spirit worlds. So, and then they go on. We'll look at these papers and other things. They talk about what the music is like, you know, divine builders, all these different, the thought recorders and stuff like that. So we're going to look at these in future papers, but there it is, folks. Just a little bit about, it's an entirely different form of vision and everything. But thanks again for checking out the video. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.